Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi Lin, and we are going to talk a little bit about selling your rights to your comic books and maybe the regrets that come along with it when they get optioned. But before we get into it, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications as we do talk about pop culture, as we do talk about the events in comicdom and fandom in general. And here we go. So Yanzi was pointing out this article. George R.R. Martin and Neil Gaiman claim they hate Hollywood's tendencies to alter source material. Now, this is ironic because we did a video early on when the casting for Sandman came about, and they were race swapping Death. And it actually got a response. Somebody within the group that we do Ballers with, Patrick Thomas Parnell, his channel, Riot Press, you go check it out. On Twitter, Neil Gaiman actually responded to him, and he was very defensive that this was the right thing to do. But it's interesting, this article, when you keep everything in mind on what changed in Sandman between, like, say, Constantine being gender swapped, again, Death becoming race swapped. How does he really feel like about his beloved comic book series being altered by Hollywood? So let's get into it.
So let's get right into the quote over here. We have R.R. Martin saying, "How faithful do you have to be? Some people don't feel they have to be faithful at all." Wait, this is in reference to source material being controversial in the industry. They're like, oh, we want to make it my own. So here it is. There's this phrase that goes wrong. I'm going to make it my own. I hate that phrase. And I think Neil probably hates that phrase too. To this, Gaiman explicitly confirmed, "I do. I spent 30 years watching people make Sandman their own," he recalled. And some of those people haven't even read Sandman to make it their own. They just flipped through a few comics or something. Pretty strong words coming from a man who pretty much created Sandman. And then he decided, after bestowing Sandman upon millions of fans worldwide, this is like one of the best-selling series ever, Vertigo series ever. And he's like, oh, okay, you know what? Death can be played by a black woman. And we're like, okay, we're fine. We're fine with her being played by a black woman. But could you maybe, get her maybe to wear some white makeup or something? We are trying to go with the iconic goth girl image thing. It's like, nah, you guys racist. And of course, we have John Constantine gender swapped because Gaiman wants it to be as inclusive as possible. So hang on a minute. So we actually need to have gender swap characters to feel inclusive because women don't feel represented by John Constantine. They need to feel represented by a woman. So we have this saying here, and that is basically, if you're not able to see yourself in the shoes of another person, despite them looking different, then the problem might be with you, not with the person.
Right. Look, in both cases, both writers wrote a great body of work. Okay. Obviously, they sold at some point in time, and one way or the other, they were along for the ride on the options. With Neil Gaiman, his ownership of Sandman, I don't know, because Vertigo, they have a stake in it, which would have been Warner Brothers. That one's a little murky. R.R. Martin, that one, again, I don't know. But there is a case with Alan Moore that I want to bring up, and a similar situation. Again, another guy who has a great body of work, and they have constantly been adapted, whether it's V for Vendetta, Watchmen 2 times, counting the HBO show, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. When he was pressed an interview about that, why he was upset that he never watches, never takes checks for these movies. They end up with the pencilers of the books usually, and you'll notice they usually endorse the movies, whereas he boycotts them. Alan Moore, I'm not defending him or not, like in this situation, but it's interesting when he was pressed. Why are you upset with the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? You sold the rights to that movie. And he's like, yeah, I know I did. He's like, but I thought I was selling old rope, meaning like it was never going to get made. And that's something that I think is a cautionary tale for any writer out there. Like Hollywood will come around, and this is how it works. They come around and they offer you money for just to option it, not to go into production or anything else. They bestow upon you just X amount of money. It can vary. And basically that studio has the rights to do or do not with this project, TV, movie, video game, whatever it is, for probably about, I think, usually 3 years, maybe 5. People negotiate it different. They usually want it to bounce back so they can option it to another studio. And basically some of these projects end up kind of being on like an auction block at like a cattle auction, pretty much whenever the rights revert back. One studio wants it, then another studio wants it, and it can cause a bid war. And in the end, you just get a check and you don't even know if it's going to get made. Now, once it does get made and it goes into post-production or production, then you get more money, and then eventually the big driving factor for a lot of these guys is it's going to make their books fly off the shelves. And in the case of when I worked with Max Brooks, World War Z, that was the main reason he was behind the World War Z movie is, you know, that book was like everywhere. You were tripping over them. I mean, that's the real money for a lot of these writers with these adaptations. That's the dirty secret behind this. Now, once the studio has their talons in it, they're not really in control anymore. You have to understand that a lot of times maybe they can negotiate production rights or producer rights in some way, but they really don't have much of a say because the studio is the one injecting the money and capital in it. And this is where projects become kind of created by a committee of people, a board of people that they basically say, well, how do we sell this movie to this group of people? How do we sell? What if we change this character over here? Well, what if we change the race and gender of this character over there? You're disrespecting the source material. Yeah, but that source material was made in the 80s and we're in the 2000s now and we're more progressive. And the real thing here is like, sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes these books are actually being optioned and produced relatively quick. The real thing you have to look at is there a director? Is there a producer? Is there somebody at that board, screenplay writer or something that their ego gets in the way? And again, Neil kind of touched on that. This is somebody trying to make their version of Sandman, not the version of Sandman. And in a way, as much as that's always upset me when I see a comic book adaptation or a book adaptation I'm a fan of, but it irks me because I can always see somebody, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Somebody always trying to put a creative twist on like a classic of sorts. Like right now I'm watching All Quiet on the Western Front on Netflix. Right off the bat, the movie starts at a different point than the book does. Now, is it nice? Yes, it's nice. It jumps right into the action and the cinematography is great, but that's not the vibe that the book set up and how it progresses into war. So, you know, it's supposed to start with students leaving school. And this is where like anybody coming along a version of a book, a comic book, it doesn't matter. Even if the book is drawn like a comic book, they're going to somehow look at it and be like, where is room for my voice in your character? And I don't think these people don't know that. I'm pretty sure they do. If anybody watches enough adaptations of things, you do realize this is the case. It's not hard to see. I think everybody at home that watches these things knows that if they've read the source material. So there you go. What do you think, Yanzi?
I'm just thinking of one famous case that happened about over 10 years ago, close to 20 years. J.K. Rowling said Dumbledore is gay after the fact that she finished publishing the whole Harry Potter series. And I'm like, I mean, I guess you're the writer, you have the rights to say that. But at the same time, it's like when you throw a creation out into the world already, somehow that creation doesn't only belong to you, the writer, anymore. It belongs to all the fans. And somehow, I guess, the information, well, in the first place, what does the sexuality of Dumbledore have to do with Harry Potter as in the series itself? Not really, unless you want to go into the prequel stuff, or the Fantastic Beasts stuff. My point is that, you know what? When you make something, it goes out into the world. Good or bad, people are going to embrace the original version. Try to make something new if you really want to say, let's modernize with the times. Because after all, you want to talk about modern times? Make something new.
Yep, there you go. And talking about something new, Inglorious Rex launched this weekend, more than six figures, okay? Like $116,000 plus in less than 24 hours, guys. This campaign is absolutely insane. This is the red hot sequel to the first Inglorious Rex, which is critically acclaimed. So please, a link down is below. Go check it out. I'll leave you guys with a trailer. Please hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out, and we will catch you guys again with another video.
On the scene, I got greatness all in my jeans. Ain't no way that I can slow down. I'm laced up, look how I shake the ground. Can't touch the ground, but you can kiss the ring. Close your eyes and see how I live a dream. I'm too smooth, MJ with the lean. Don't be fooled, I came through with the team. This is over their heads, how high can it go? I'm too over the edge, got my eyes on the goal. and we right back at it, keep them right on their toes. Look at the way that I move, this is all that I know. Cause I got the drive, I put it in gear. Line them up, I don't see no competitors here. If it ain't first place, we really can't settle for it. Listen up, listen up. Get ready for